Liam wiped the sweat from his forehead as the cleaning drone buzzed past him. The spaceport floor stretched wide, full of footsteps, loud voices, and blinking lights. He had been working this janitor job for almost 4 years now. No one ever thanked him, but he didn't care. He liked keeping things clean, liked watching ships take off and land from different worlds. Today was just like any other day until it wasn't. Near the edge of Dock 17, an elderly alien woman stumbled and fell. Her long robe dragged behind her and her arms shook as she tried to get up. People walked past without stopping. Some looked, then turned away. Liam dropped his mop instantly and ran toward her. He reached out his hand and said gently, "Are you okay?" The alien woman looked up, her face covered in soft green lines, eyes wide and scared. She tried to speak but only managed to whisper in broken galactic common. Liam didn't wait for words. He helped her to her feet slowly, careful not to hurt her. Just then a small red light blinked on a nearby wall. A security drone hovered into view and scanned them both. A voice crackled from its speaker. Human worker 8837, assistance to non-cleared alien during work hours, recorded. Liam looked up, shocked. What? I was just helping her, she fell. The drone didn't answer. It blinked once, then flew away. Liam helped the woman sit on a bench and gave her his water bottle. She drank slowly, her hands trembling. Thank you, kind human, she whispered, her voice rough and soft. Liam gave her a tired smile. Don't worry, just rest here. He walked back to his cleaning station, hoping the drone would forget. But as his shift ended, his name appeared in red on the work panel. Report to Supervisor Jex at once, it said. Inside the cold office, his supervisor didn't look up. You touched a non-cleared alien during active hours, Jex said, voice flat. She fell. I helped her, Liam replied, confused. That's not your job, Liam. You violated the company's image. Liam's heart dropped. You're firing me? No, Jex said. The company is effective immediately. He stood outside the port gates, stunned, holding his bag of tools. People passed him like he didn't exist. The air felt colder than usual, and the stars above seemed further away. Then, he heard a quiet voice behind him. Human. He turned. The elderly alien woman stood there, leaning on a crooked cane. In her hand was a glowing crystal, warm and golden. She held it out to him with both hands. For your kindness. This belongs to you now, she said. Liam looked at the crystal, then at her. I don't understand, he said softly. You will, she replied. It called to me the moment you touched me. It wants you. The crystal glowed brighter. In her hand, as if reacting to his presence, Liam hesitated, then took it. It was warm, almost alive. As his fingers wrapped around it, he felt a soft pulse, like a heartbeat. The old alien gave a small smile, her eyes full of hidden sorrow and hope. You may have lost a job, human, she whispered, but you've started something greater. Liam looked at the night sky again, unsure what this meant. Behind him, the spaceport lights kept blinking, but something inside him felt different now. The world had changed and he had no idea what was coming next. But he held the crystal tightly, and the old woman walked beside him. Together they vanished into the dark street. And so began the story of the man who lost everything, only to discover something far more powerful than he ever imagined. Liam sat alone in his tiny pod room on the city's lower levels. The walls were thin, and the ceiling flickered with cheap blue light. He held the glowing crystal in his hands, staring at it like it might disappear. He hadn't eaten, hadn't slept. Not since the strange alien woman gave it to him. Something inside him told him this wasn't just a gift. It was a key, but a key to what? He didn't know. Outside the night was quiet, but inside the crystal something stirred. It pulsed once in his hand, soft, warm, alive. Then suddenly, a beam of golden light shot from the crystal. It painted symbols and shapes on the wall, lines dancing across the room like stars. Liam jumped up, backing away. The light formed a circle, then a map, glowing symbols of stars and ancient paths. In the center was a name, the Vault of Remembrance. Below it, a message appeared in broken galactic common. Only the pure-hearted shall find the path. His heart raced. The old alien had said something about a journey. Had she known this would happen? Just then, the crystal floated from his palm and hovered in front of him. It spun slowly, humming like a lullaby. A voice echoed in the room, gentle and old. You have been chosen, not by blood, but by choice. Liam blinked, confused. Chosen for what? The voice did not answer. The light vanished and the crystal dropped silently into his hand again. The room returned to normal, but nothing felt normal anymore. The next morning, Liam left his pod and returned to the spaceport. He searched the benches where he had last seen the alien woman. She was not there, but in her place sat a small folded note, written in soft slanted letters. Find me near the old sector's docking ring, Bay 12. Come before the next moonrise. Liam didn't hesitate. He knew the old sector, abandoned, dark, and watched by drones. Only smugglers and forgotten ships passed through there now. Hours later, he reached Bay 12, his heart pounding. The metal floor creaked beneath his boots, and the shadows felt heavy. He saw her sitting quietly under a broken light. She looked even weaker than before, her skin pale and trembling. I knew you'd come, she said softly, smiling without strength. Liam sat beside her, showing the crystal. What is this thing? Her eyes lit up for a second. That, she said, is part of my soul. Liam stared, not understanding. She continued, long ago my people guarded knowledge, secrets of healing, of memory, of unity. But the war changed everything. My people scattered and the vault was sealed. No one with hatred could ever open it again. And me, Liam asked. You helped me when I was nothing, she whispered. You passed the first test without knowing. She pulled a small bag from her robe and handed it to him. Inside were old papers, star maps, and a silver badge with her family crest. You'll need these if you're going to get off-world, she said. You're leaving this planet. Liam's eyes widened. What? I can't afford a ticket and I'm jobless. She smiled gently. A smuggler named Krax owes me a favor. He'll take us, no questions asked. Us? Liam asked. The alien woman stood slowly, holding her cane. You think I'm letting you go alone? She said with a soft laugh. This is my last chance too. But as they stepped out of Bay 12, a red light scanned across them. A patrol drone blinked awake in the shadows. Unauthorized beings detected, it said, voice sharp and cold. Prepare for security lockdown. Liam grabbed the old woman's hand and ran. Footsteps echoed behind them. Alarms began to wail. They ducked through rusted doors, slid under broken beams. The city chased them like it wanted to erase them. By the time they reached Krax's hidden dock, Liam was out of breath. Krax, a grumpy alien with 3 eyes and oil-stained hands, looked shocked. I don't smuggle humans, he grunted. You do now, the woman said, lifting her badge. Krax looked at it, blinked, then sighed. Get in before I change my mind. Inside the old freighter, Liam sat down, heart still racing. The crystal pulsed softly in his hand. The old woman leaned against the wall, her breathing shallow. You just started something big, human, she said with a tired smile. And the galaxy doesn't know it yet. As the ship lifted off, Liam looked out the window. The earth grew smaller behind him. His old life vanished in the clouds and ahead. Only mystery, stars, and a crystal full of secrets. The ship shook as it left Earth's orbit. Liam held onto a side rail, his heart pounding. This was his first time off-planet. He had dreamed about the stars as a boy, but now that he was here, it didn't feel like a dream. It felt dangerous, real, and heavy with unknowns. The smuggler, Krax, grumbled from the pilot seat. Don't touch anything, human, he snapped. The old alien woman, her name now revealed as Tira, sat quietly beside Liam. She looked weaker than ever, her hands cold, her eyes closed. Yet the crystal in Liam's pocket pulsed like a living thing. He wondered if it was connected to her life somehow. Where exactly are we going? Liam asked. Cracks didn't look back. To a moon no one visits anymore. Old map coordinates she gave me lead there. Strange place, he added. No trade, no cities, just trees and silence. Liam sat back, trying to stay calm. Everything he knew was behind him now. His job, his city, his old life. Now he was flying into unknown space with a dying alien and a glowing rock. But deep inside, something told him he was doing the right thing. After 2 days of quiet travel through old jump lanes, the ship finally slowed. They had arrived. Outside the window was a small forest-covered moon, glowing with soft blue light. It looked peaceful, but strange, like something out of a forgotten dream. They landed near a clearing where huge stone ruins stood like broken teeth. Moss covered everything, and glowing insects floated in the air. The ship's ramp hissed open, and Liam stepped out. The air was cool, filled with the scent of wet leaves and old secrets. "This is it," Tira whispered as she stepped onto the ground. Her voice shook, and her legs almost gave out. Liam caught her quickly. "You need rest," he said. "There's no time," she replied, pointing toward a vine-covered archway. They moved slowly deeper into the ruins. Alien symbols covered the stone walls, symbols that shimmered when Liam got close. He reached out to touch one, and it pulsed under his fingers. "Tira," gasped, "You really are the one." "The one for what?" Liam asked, confused. But before she could answer, something moved in the trees. A dark shape, silent and fast. Liam turned quickly, pulling Tira behind him. Out of the shadows stepped a tall, cloaked figure. Its face was hidden, but its voice was low and smooth. "You should not be here," it said. Cracks, who had followed behind, raised a small blaster. "Back off, Shadow Boy," he growled. Tira stepped forward with difficulty. "I have returned to finish what I started," she said. The cloaked figure didn't move. "You were exiled, matriarch," it said coldly. "You are no longer welcome." Liam stepped between them. "She's not alone," he said firmly. "I don't care what she was. She needs this place, and I'm with her." The figure tilted its head. "You are human," it said. "You do not belong here." "I didn't belong in my own world either," Liam said quietly. "But I helped her when no one else would." The figure stayed silent, then slowly stepped back. It nodded once and disappeared into the trees. Liam felt his knees shake but stood tall. Tira smiled faintly. "You faced him better than most warriors." They continued toward the center of the ruins. There stood a large stone door, sealed with alien patterns. The crystal in Liam's pocket began to glow brighter. Tira placed her hand on the stone, but nothing happened. Then Liam stepped forward and held the crystal up. The door lit up with golden light, and slowly it opened. Inside was a dark chamber filled with carvings, pools of light, and floating objects. At the center was a platform with a single pedestal. Tira stepped forward, but stumbled. Liam caught her again. "This is your moment," she said softly. "Place the crystal, and listen." Liam walked to the pedestal and placed the crystal inside a hollow slot. Instantly, light exploded around the room. Images formed, of planets, wars, peace, and voices from the past. Then the chamber spoke. "Welcome, bearer of compassion. You have unlocked the path to remembrance." Liam turned to Tira. She was kneeling now, eyes wide. "You did it," she whispered. But her body began to flicker. Liam ran to her. "What's happening?" She looked at him with a tired smile. "My life force is tied to the vault," she said. "It gave me time, just enough to find you." Liam held her as her body weakened, but the crystal pulsed again, sending warmth through his hands. Light wrapped around her form, and suddenly, her body stopped fading, her skin changed, her posture straightened. She opened her eyes, strong and steady. "You gave me life again," she said. "And now I will give you purpose." Liam stood frozen as the light slowly faded from the chamber walls. Tira, once fragile and trembling, now stood tall beside him. Her skin glowed softly, her back straight, her silver hair flowing behind her like threads of light. The transformation was not just physical. It felt ancient, powerful. The vault had done something to her, and to him. "I feel whole," Tira whispered, touching her own hands like she had forgotten how they once felt. Liam nodded, but his heart was pounding. "What is this place really?" he asked. Tira turned to him, her eyes serious now. "This vault is not just a shelter of memory. It is a living test." Suddenly, the floor beneath them shifted, stone tiles moved, and the walls melted into a different shape. The light dimmed, and the pedestal behind them vanished. They were no longer in the chamber. They stood in a dark corridor, lit only by blue flames on the walls. "This is the second phase," Tira said, her voice more distant now. "You must face what is hidden, in your heart alone." Before Liam could reply, a wall of light split them apart. "Tira!" he shouted, banging on the light. But she was gone, and he was alone. The air turned cold and mist curled around his feet. He heard whispers, soft at first, then louder, voices he knew from his past. "Why are you still trying? You're just a janitor. You were never meant for more." Liam spun around, but no one was there. Instead, images appeared before him, his old boss yelling, his father walking out when Liam was a child, his younger self crying in a quiet room. All the memories he had buried deep came back like fire. A figure stepped out of the mist. It looked just like Liam, but darker, colder, full of anger. "You think helping one alien makes you a hero?" The dark version said. "You lost your job, your home, your life. For what?" Liam shook his head, trying to stay calm. "I did what was right," he said. "You did what was easy." The shadow snapped. "You helped because you were lonely, not because you were strong." Liam's fists clenched. He wanted to fight, to scream. But he remembered Tira's words. This was a test, not of strength, but of heart. He took a breath and stepped forward. "I did help her," he said. "Even if I was lonely. I could have walked away like everyone else, but I didn't." The shadow paused, flickered. Liam continued. "Kindness isn't weakness. It's a choice, and I made it." With those words, the shadow began to break apart. Cracks spread across its body like shattered glass. It let out a long sigh, then faded into light. The mist disappeared, and warmth returned to the air. The wall of light that separated him from Tira vanished. She was standing in the same place, watching him with quiet eyes. "You passed?" she said softly. Liam stepped toward her, still breathing hard. "What would have happened if I failed?" "You would have stayed in that memory loop forever," she replied. "Many have." Suddenly, the chamber began to shake again, but this time, it wasn't part of the trial. The stone ceiling cracked, and dust rained down. Tira looked up sharply. "They found us," she whispered. "The ones who don't want the vault awakened." Liam grabbed her hand. "We need to get out." Tira touched the pedestal and it rose again, now glowing with urgency. A glowing sphere hovered above it, filled with golden liquid light. She held it out to Liam. "This is the memory core," she said. "It holds the last songs of my people, the knowledge, the history, the truth." Liam took it gently, the weight surprising him. The moment he touched it, visions flashed in his mind. Alien cities floating in the sky, children laughing, temples full of peace and wisdom. Then fire, war, betrayal, and silence. He gasped, dropping to his knees. Tira knelt beside him, steadying him. "The truth is heavy," she said. "But now, it's yours too." The shaking grew stronger and a wall exploded behind them. Armed figures in black armor stormed in, their weapons glowing red. "Drop the core," one shouted. Tira stood tall, her voice firm. "You're too late." Liam stood up slowly, holding the memory core close. He had faced himself and survived. Now he would face the enemy, not with violence, but with purpose. Liam didn't move as the soldiers raised their weapons. The glowing memory core throbbed in his hands like a living sun. Tira stood beside him, her robe flowing, her eyes glowing with ancient fire. The lead soldier stepped forward, face hidden, behind a helmet of black steel. "You will surrender the core," the voice ordered, cold and sharp. Tira didn't blink. "You are too late," she said. "The vault has awakened." The soldiers hesitated, their armor shifting with nervous motion. Then another stepped out from the shadows. His armor was gold, trimmed with blood-red lines. He removed his helmet, revealing a pale, scarred face. Liam felt his chest tighten. This man wasn't just a soldier. He was something higher, crueler. "I knew the exile would crawl back someday," the man sneered. Tira Von, High Matriarch of the Lumari, shamed and forgotten. Liam looked at Tira, shocked. She hadn't told him this part. She was royalty. She had once ruled a whole alien empire. Tira took a step forward, her voice strong. "I was betrayed by my own council, exiled not for crimes, but for mercy. I wanted peace, they wanted power." The scarred man laughed. "You chose humans over your own kind. You tried to open the vault to them to share our secrets. Your punishment was fair." Liam's heart raced. She had risked everything to help humanity, and they had cast her out for it. Now he understood why she had trusted him. The soldiers raised their weapons again. Tira looked at Liam, her eyes full of calm. "You don't have to fight," she said softly. "Yes, I do," Liam answered, stepping in front of her. He didn't know how to use the core as a weapon, but he knew he wouldn't let them take it. Suddenly, the core flared in his hands. A wave of light burst from it, pushing the soldiers back. They screamed as the energy hit them, not with pain, but with memory. Visions poured into their minds, children laughing, fields of peace, skies filled with songs. The soldiers fell, to their knees dazed, some even crying. The scarred commander stumbled, his eyes wild. "What did you do?" he shouted. Liam stood firm, his voice shaking but clear. "I didn't do anything," he said. They remembered who they used to be. Tira stepped forward now, glowing from head to toe. "The vault's power is not destruction," she said. "It is truth. You fear it because it shows who you really are." The commander screamed and charged, pulling a long blade of burning plasma. Liam moved without thinking, placing himself between the man and Tira. But before the blade could strike, Tira raised her hand. A wave of golden force stopped the blade mid-air. The man froze, unable to move. "I forgive you," Tira whispered. The man trembled, his weapon fading into sparks. Then he collapsed to the floor, unconscious. Silence filled the chamber. The remaining soldiers backed away, their weapons lowered. Some dropped to one knee, heads bowed. "Matriarch Tira Von," one said, voice quiet. "We thought you were gone forever." "I was," she replied, "but I was reborn by the kindness of a human." She turned to Liam, her eyes softening. "You gave me your strength when I had none. You faced your fears when most would run. You deserve to know everything." Tira touched the core again, and light wrapped around them. They were no longer in the vault. They were standing in a sky full of stars. Images floated all around, showing the rise of the Lumari people, how they had once shared knowledge across galaxies, until fear, greed, and war broke them. Tira had tried to restore peace. She had offered to share Lumari knowledge with young, human civilizations, but her council saw humans as dangerous, unpredictable, unworthy. So they exiled her, locked away the vault, and erased her name. Liam watched it all in silence. When the vision faded, they were back in the chamber. Tira placed the core in his hands again. "This is no longer just mine," she said. "It's ours." "But what now?" Liam asked. Tira looked around at the kneeling soldiers. "At sunrise," she said, "we return to the city of my people. And you, Liam, will walk beside me." "I'm not royalty," he said quietly. "No," she said, smiling. "You are something far rarer. You are good." Liam looked at the vault one last time. He had come here with nothing, just a mop and a tired heart. Now, he held the last light of an ancient world and walked beside the woman who had once been cast out for believing in humans. The ship landed on a wide platform made of silver stone. Below it stretched the lost city of Lumari, once the center of a proud empire. Tall crystal towers shimmered under the rising sun. Flying beasts with golden wings soared through the sky. It was beautiful, peaceful, but filled with whispers of the past. Liam stepped out first, his boots touching a place no human had walked before. Tira followed beside him, wearing the old crest of the matriarch on her chest. Soldiers, nobles, and citizens of many alien species gathered around the platform. Some bowed the moment they saw her. Others narrowed their eyes in silent anger. A horn sounded across the city. The High Council had returned to the throne hall. Waiting for her arrival, Liam felt nervous, but he held the memory core tightly. Tira looked at him, calm and steady. No matter what happens inside, don't let go of the truth, she said. He nodded. The throne hall was massive. Tall windows, made of glowing glass. 13 counselors sat in a half-circle wearing robes of blue and black. In the center stood an empty throne. Tira stepped forward, her voice clear. I have returned, she said. Not to reclaim power, but to restore purpose. Murmurs broke out across the chamber. One of the counselors, tall and bitter-faced, stood. You were cast out for your betrayal, he said. You brought a human here, a risk to our very survival. Liam stepped beside Tira before she could answer. I'm not your enemy, he said. I didn't come here to rule or to change your world. I came here because she believed in me when no one else did. And because she believes in you, when even you don't. Another counselor stood, this one older, her voice calm. The vault has chosen him, she said. The core only opens to a worthy soul. We cannot ignore that, the bitter one sneered. Kindness does not lead empires. Strength does. Liam lifted the core and it pulsed. Golden light filled the chamber, showing memories again. Children playing, scientists creating, diplomats shaking hands. Not war, but wonder. Not fear, but unity. The Lumari were once teachers. Tira said, her voice soft but strong. Now we are shadows, afraid of sharing our light. But this human risked everything to protect something that wasn't even his. She pointed to Liam. He could have walked away from me. But he didn't. The chamber grew silent. Then one by one the counselors stood. Some bowed their heads. Others stepped forward and placed their hands over their hearts. A sign of respect. The bitter one was the last to speak. He looked at Liam with unreadable eyes. Then let him prove. Himself, he said slowly. Not with war, but with action. Let him teach in our schools, walk in our halls, speak to our young. If he is truly the guardian the core accepts, let him become the bridge. Tira smiled. I agree, she said. Liam blinked in surprise. Teach? He asked. I don't even have a degree. She laughed softly. You have something rarer than knowledge, she said. You have heart. Weeks passed. Liam stayed in the city, learning, listening, helping where he could. He visited schools, told children stories of Earth, not of weapons, but of music, of courage, of kindness. He showed them how humans could build instead of destroy. Tira walked beside him always, her presence strong and warm. She never asked for her throne back. She only wanted her people to remember who they were. And slowly, things began to change. Walls of fear started to fall. Doors opened. Conversations started. Aliens who had once hated humans now came to listen to the strange man who had no crown, no army, but still made the city feel brighter. Liam stood one night on a high balcony looking at the stars. Tira joined him, holding a single flower with glowing petals. You brought the vault back to life, she said. But more importantly, you brought us back to ourselves. I didn't do it alone, he replied. No, she said, placing the flower in his hand. But you did it when you had nothing left to give. Liam smiled. The janitor from Earth was now a symbol of peace. Not because he was special, but because when he had the chance to walk away, he didn't. The wind moved gently through the glowing trees of Lumari. Their silver leaves shimmered under the twin moons. Liam walked slowly through the garden paths. the memory core resting safely inside a crystal vault nearby. Children played under the starlight, laughing in different alien languages. Some were Lumari, some were human, some from other races who had joined the city after the vault reopened. He paused by a quiet pond, watching the fish swim through glowing water. He still wore simple clothes, no crown, no title. But when people passed him, they smiled, bowed, or placed a hand over their hearts. Liam had become more than a guest. He had become a part of the city's soul. Tira walked toward him from the path ahead, her long robe trailing behind her like moonlight. She looked younger each day, though her eyes held thousands of years of memory. In her hands, she carried a small object wrapped in silk. When she reached Liam, she sat beside him on the stone bench, silent for a while. "It's peaceful tonight," Liam said, watching the moonlight dance on the water. "It is," Tira agreed. "And that peace exists because you stayed." He looked at her, his voice quiet. "I was just a janitor," he said. "I didn't think I could ever change anything." Tira smiled softly. "Empires are not changed by strength alone," she said. "They are changed by those who choose to do what's right, even when no one is looking." She handed him the silk-wrapped object. Liam opened it slowly and found a symbol carved from starstone, the same crest she once wore as matriarch. It had been reshaped, now half human and half Lumari. "This," she said, "is not a title. It's a promise." Liam looked down at the symbol in his hands. "You still want me to lead?" "Not lead," Tira said gently, "but guide. Be the one who reminds us of what we almost forgot." In the weeks that followed, the city continued to change. New schools were opened, where alien children and human children studied side by side. Liam taught them stories, not from books but from his own heart. He taught them how small acts of kindness could move mountains. He visited the farms in the outer rings, helped fix broken tools. He walked through the markets, greeting everyone, listening to their problems, and he kept the gardens clean. Old habits never left completely. Tira remained beside him, no longer hiding who she was. She didn't reclaim the throne. Instead, she stood as a guide, a mother to her people, and many said she had returned stronger because of the human who walked with her. One day, a young Lumari child asked Liam, "Why did you help her when she fell?" Liam knelt down and smiled. "Because she needed someone," he said, "and I didn't want to be like the people who walked away." The child tilted their head, even though she was different. "Especially because she was different," Liam answered. "If we only help those who look like us, speak like us, or think like us, we'll never grow." Years passed, and Liam stayed in Lumari. He visited Earth only once, to speak before a gathering of leaders. He told them the full story, from the fall at Dock 17 to the Vault's awakening. He didn't ask for rewards, just a simple agreement that humans would open their arms to those in need, no matter what they looked like. Back in Lumari, Tira grew gardens filled with earth flowers. She named one section the Kind Man's Path, a place where people could sit, remember, and learn what one man's kindness had changed. On the anniversary of the Vault's awakening, the city gathered near the crystal chamber. Liam stood quietly at the center, holding a small candle of golden flame. Beside him stood Tira, her hand resting on his shoulder. "This world is no longer just mine," she said to the crowd. "It belongs to all of us." And it was saved not by a warrior, not by a ruler, but by a human who cleaned floors and chose not to look away. The crowd remained silent, listening with their hearts. Then they began to light candles one by one. Glowing lights filled the sky. Not for war, not for victory, but for remembrance and hope. Liam looked up, a quiet smile on his face. He had lost everything once. His job, his place, his purpose. But now, in a city that once cast out its greatest leader, he had found something far greater, not power, not fame, but belonging and a future together.